This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. It's important to continually look and monitor stories like this because what they're trying to do is get technology under your skin. That is the end game. That is the goal, to get technology inside of your body. So they already have the ability to do this. What they need to do is condition you subtly into accepting this. And this is a story that was shared over on the website by a subscriber by the name of A Light in the Darkness. And it's important to pay attention to these things. Visa has announced changes to credit and debit card payments that could thin your wallet. So this might sound like nothing to you. This might sound like something where you're just saying, well, what's the big deal? I have a debit card from Visa, then I have two other Visa credit and debit cards, whatever. I have multiple ones. I have a wallet with multiple cards. The goal is to get you to a digital wallet. And it's not going to be seamless, but they want to make it seamless. And to make it seamless, they do little things like this to transition you into a digital wallet. This is what they've been doing with many forms of technology. They start off one way, then they little by little start getting you to make the technology closer to your body, onto your body, and eventually into your body, which is why we've gone from cell phones to ear pods to Apple Watches to now, which I've covered, the Apple Lens, which is literally a contact lens that you use on your eyeball where you can see your phone screen in your retina. This is all transitional. They are transitioning you to get this technology under your skin. Take a quick look at what Visa just announced.
5:40 here, and your wallet may soon get a little thinner. Visa announcing a major change impacting both credit and debit cards. One physical debit or credit card will be connected to multiple bank accounts. Visa customers that have a credit card and debit card from the same bank will no longer need two different cards or accounts. It will also be under one account and one card. Visa will also add an update where a customer can add their card to their digital wallet simply by tapping the card on their smartphones. The changes will start rolling out this summer.
So they say the biggest change coming for Americans will be the ability for banks to issue one physical card that will be connected to multiple bank accounts. And this is what it's all going to lead to, right? Everything is one. This new world order is really a one world order. One religion, one currency, one language. So this is the beginning transition in another way, right? We can look at a story like this and we could say, well, what's really the big deal? But it's subliminal. It's an adjustment. It's a transition. And when they make it seamless in a sense where you just go, all right, well, at first, hey, my wallet is a little bulky. You know, nobody wants to carry around multiple credit cards, right? Well, now you could just carry one. And then after you carry one, you start realizing, wait a minute, it would be a lot easier to just not have a wallet at all, which is what they've been trying to tell you, which is why they mentioned in those clips about the tap to pay. That's another seamless transition. Ultimately about getting it under your skin. Yuval Harari, okay, Russell Brand, who plays the role of a truther, they're telling you right in front of your faces that they're trying to get technology under your skin. The data that they want is under your skin. All of this with blockchain is going to be embedded in your genetic code.
Yuval, thank you so much for joining me on Under the Skin.
Yeah, it's good to be here again.
When surveillance goes really under the skin,
We need to monitor what's happening under the skin.
surveillance technologies,
Surveillance going under our skin, especially surveillance under the skin. We have now hackable animals under the skin.
So that's what it's about, getting it under your skin. So how do they get you there? That's what they have to work on day in and day out, is psychologically conditioning the masses into accepting this. And that's what they do. That's what mind control is. I just was talking about this with the digital ID and even stories that you hear about scamming, romance scams and online scams and mysterious people scamming without ever finding out who they are, and they get away with it and they rob people of millions. And how can we finally track and trace these people? Well, it all starts with stories like that to get you to accept what they want you to accept. And these are seamless ways that they do it. So Visa on Wednesday announced major changes to how credit and debit cards will operate in the US. The new features could mean Americans will be carrying fewer physical cards in their wallets. and will make the 16-digit credit or debit card number printed on every card increasingly irrelevant. I mentioned this as well to get to a cashless society. One of the things that people don't realize happened during the outbreak that just occurred was that the government was taking cash and coins out of circulation. They were telling you that cash and coins were going to transmit the common cough to you, that you were going to get sick if you use cash or change, that it was a good time to go cashless. And what they did was they removed cash and they removed coins out of circulation. This is another reason that they try to bait people into going to things like Coinstar to turn their coins and their cash in, is that they're trying to remove it from circulation. So these are things that they're doing. Now they're removing your 16-digit credit card number. And we can all look at that and say, good, get rid of the credit card. But the problem is that once you start conditioning people to move away from these things, they move them closer to the mark of the beast, and you move them closer to getting the tech under their skin. And we can all look at it now and say people won't fall for this, but they will. Little transitions like this mentally condition people into going along with this new technology. They move you away from the old tech, they move you towards the new tech, and they aren't just going to bombard you with it. They're not just going to go from a credit card and a cell phone to saying, well, now your cell phone's underneath your skin. Well, now the credit card's underneath your skin. They know that they have to condition you from point to point to point, which, like I said, is what they've done with the phone to the earbud to the wrist, to the watch, right? To the lens. Each step is one step closer to getting it inside your body. So they say they will be some of the biggest changes to how payments operate in the US since the US rolled out chip-embedded cards several years ago. They also come as Americans have many more options to pay for purchases beyond credit or debit, including buy now, pay later companies, peer-to-peer payment options, paying directly with the bank, or digital payment systems like Apple Pay. Quote, I think with these features, we're getting past the point where consumers may never need to manually enter an account number ever again, said Mark Nelson, Visa's global head of consumer payments, in an interview. That's very important to note. Okay? Manually never enter an account number again. You look at your credit card, and all you know of your credit card is the credit card number. Then we transition to tap to pay or inserting the card with the chip. The next thing is for this to be embedded in you, in your genetic code. People just don't seem to understand what that means. Okay? What that means is that it's embedded in you. You could get it embedded in you with just a simple solution, like a shot. And once that's embedded in you, you don't need an account number ever again because you're the account number, you, right? Whether it's your phone number or your social security number, it's embedded inside of you. And you will just be digitally scanned through your veins, through your genetic code. So the biggest change coming for Americans will be the ability for banks to issue consumers one physical payment card that will be connected to multiple bank accounts. That means no more carrying a bank card or a Chase debit card or a Bank of America card, as well as their respective credit cards in a physical wallet. Americans will be able to set criteria with their bank, such as having all purchases below $100 or with a certain merchant applied to the debit card, while other purchases go on the credit card. The feature already being used in Asia will be available this summer. Buy now, pay later company Affirm is the first of Visa's customers to roll out this feature in the US. Some of Visa's new features are in response to online payment fraud, which continues to increase as more countries adopt digital payments. And again, that's all propaganda. There's a reason that the news continually is putting out stories about online payment frauds, online identity hacking, online romance scams. It's also that, at the end of the day, that when this is embedded in you, they tell you that, well, now nobody can hack your ID, et cetera. But then you become a hackable human, a hackable animal, which again is another thing they've openly talked about many times over. All these people who are going to the World Economic Forum and meeting with your prime ministers and your presidents and your CEOs of corporations like Apple, all talking about hacking human beings and having the ability to hack a human being. But they tell you that you need to have this technology inside of you because you're supposed to trust these people, even though they're flat out telling you that the goal is to hack human beings. So some of these Visa's new features will be in response to the online payments fraud. The San Francisco-based company estimates that payment fraud happens roughly 7 times more often online than it does in person. Right. So that's why you want us all to pay online and not pay in person and not pay in cash and not pay with coins, right? Because, yeah, ultimately it would be embedded in us. Then you tell us, again, that it will be safer when we know that we won't be. So there are now billions of stolen credit cards and debit card numbers available to criminals. Other new elements are also in response to features that non-payment companies have rolled out in recent years. The Apple Card, which uses MasterCard as its payment network, does not come with a printed 16-digit account number, and Apple Card users can request a fresh credit card number at any time without having to dispose of the physical card. Visa executives see a future where banks will issue cards where the 16-digit account number, if the new cards come with them, is largely symbolic, okay? Kind of like a QR code. You're a human walking QR code. I can't make that clear enough, how they're conditioning you with the QR code. This goes back to the barcode. There was a lot of people who believed in the 70s and 80s that the barcode was the mark of the beast, and they're close to being right. Because the reason they constantly have you scanning QR codes is because eventually you're going to be the QR code that gets scanned, and they continually condition people into this. So among the other updates unveiled by Visa are changes to tap-to-pay features. Americans will be able to tap their credit or debit cards to their smartphones to add the card to mobile wallets instead of using a smartphone's camera to scan in a card's information. And again, that's when I say transition. That's what that is. They're transitioning you. And the more time that goes by, the more desensitized human beings naturally become to this. And then it just becomes a very subtle transition. But time is the key. So that's what's going on right now. You're watching the transition through time as we're moving from, okay, just a credit card. Okay, tap to pay. Oh, okay, now there's no more credit card number. But now you could just tap your phone with your credit card. Eventually, you'll just be scanning your body with your phone. And eventually your phone will be inside of you, and then we have everything complete, right? Then we have Mark of the Beast technology. You'll not be able to buy or sell without the Mark of the Beast, as we all know through scripture. Just many people don't realize, or at least they refuse to realize, but my opinion on the Mark of the Beast is you will not be able to buy or sell without this technology inside of your body. Okay, this is the Internet of Bodies that they've talked about for a long time, connecting human beings. And people are like, whoa, yeah, we're all connected to the internet. It's eventually going to be in you. You've been doing a trial test run with the internet. You've been conditioned to be dependent on the internet. You've been conditioned to love the internet, www, which is 666 in Hebrew. You've been conditioned in all that, to needing it, to not being able to live without it by design, so that when they tell you that you're going to have this mark inside of you in order to use the internet, in order to buy things online, which ultimately will be everything, buying things online, selling things, oh, you're going to have it to be a part of it, because you're going to have confirmation. We got to make sure that you're not some hacker. We got to make sure that you're not posting hateful comments online. That's what we're getting transitioned into. And these are ways that they do it. It's very subtle, but it's a transition. So the last part says the features will take time to filter down to the banks, which will decide when or what to implement for their customers. But since the banks and credit card companies are Visa customers and issue cards with the Visa label, these are features that the financial institutions have been asking for. Of course, they've been asking for it because, this is what it's about, right? It's about getting under your skin. Literally, it's not about getting under your skin like the expression, I want to get under your skin, They want inside your body. The data that they want is inside of you. They want to monitor your every single heartbeat. That's what they want to do. And they're going to get to that point subtly by conditioning you into thinking that these are all advancements in technology. These, of course, they always have to condition you by telling you that this is for your safety. This is for your safety. And you go, well, what do you mean? What do you mean my safety? Well, haven't you heard about all the hacking? Oh, you mean all the manufactured stories that the mainstream media puts out there to make you want the things that they want you to have? That's what all this is. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. The news is not to inform you. Repeat after me. The news is not to inform you. It is to condition you. It is to manufacture your behavior and condition you into what they want. So again, everybody, the news is not to inform you. It is to condition you. And all the stories you hear about the dangers of online identity and scamming and all this stuff is to get you on board with what they already have planned for you, which is, in my opinion, the mark of the beast. So this is what we're headed towards. Stories like this, you may see a story like this, and you might go, what's the big deal? And that's how they want you to respond to it. That's how they expect you to respond to it. They expect you to roll your eyes at a video like this and say, what's the big deal? Because it's such a little minuscule thing you would think on the surface. But then when you start thinking about where we're headed, you start saying, oh, so to get from A to Z, they need to go through each letter of the alphabet, little by little bit here, little bit there. And you think that it's a seamless transition, because if they went from just a credit card to saying, now you're going to have it inside your body and under your skin, people will go, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But little by little, when they start making moves like this, and then you don't even have a physical wallet anymore, and you go, oh, what do I need one for? I do all my banking online. You don't even, well, what do you even need the phone for anymore? You could just have it in you. Okay, sounds good. And these people don't even see it coming. And it's coming. It's coming fast. So this is the next wave. I want to thank the subscriber again over on the website, A Light in the Darkness, for sharing this with me. These things are so important to note. You might be like, oh yeah, this is another new thing that they're doing. It's another new thing, and it's another very tiny step towards transitioning us into accepting this technology underneath our skin. And that's why it's important to pay attention to it. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always, and your families.